Alex here with, I guess we'll call this episode 1 of Questions for Brittany. And I just thought of that a second ago. We got a question from one of the viewers sent to our email. It's from Jennifer. It says, "Hello, I was wondering if you and or Brittany can do a video on the following topics." And she really just goes through a list of questions. I'm going to go ahead and ask Brittany the questions. If one of them seems complex enough to do a video, then I'll go ahead and do one. But these may just be resolved by a simple answer from her. So the first question is how to stepmom with a high conflict mom. What is this, a specific here? What to do when the mom exaggerates differences between the homes and makes it seem like our home does everything wrong. Let's start with that one.
How to co-parent as a stepmom with a mom. High conflict mom. Okay, so in my experience with Alex, the best thing that I could do is just step back and let Alex take care of it. There's not much you can do as a stepmom. You don't have rights. The best thing you can do is just be there for your stepson or stepdaughter. Make their life easier because they're going through some stuff, whether you can tell or not, they're feeling the tension, they're feeling the anxiety. So the best thing you can do is just be a source of comfort and a source of, freedom. He can come to you or she can come to you and they don't have to deal with that anxiety. They know that you are a comfort zone. Behind the scenes, you want to work closely with your spouse and plan. I was going to say plot, but you don't want to plot. You want to plan what your next steps are in court, or how you're going to, what's the word? Rebut the claims that the mom is, or the other parent is saying. So that's the only thing I can do. That's the only thing I can say. The best thing to do is just be there for your stepchild. That's all you can do. The more you meddle as a step parent, the worse it looks in court. It's just it's not appropriate.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that because you actually ended up going on the stand. If you guys finish watching this video and you haven't seen my docket video of Brittany testifying on the stand, you really won't understand half of what she just said. So, and I wish I could remember which one it was, guys. It's if you look through the playlist, look for the chunk of videos that are all hearing videos. There's like 3 or 4 of them all in one chunk. I think it's like somewhere in the 100s, maybe between 110, 150, part 110 and 150. You'll see the evidentiary hearing and you'll see Brittany testify. And I think half of what she said won't make sense to you unless you've seen that, because then you'll get to see what she said on the stand and how everything that she just said actually makes sense. By the way, that was completely unscripted. She just completely said that after hearing the question for the first time. The next question is, what to do when the child feels remorse about liking something that stepmom does over what biological mom does. And she gives examples: school lunches, hairstyles, etc.
So I just want to make sure I understand the question. What to do when the child likes what stepmom does over the mom?
Yeah. So that actually, specifically, she says when the child starts to feel remorse about liking what the stepmom is doing rather than the mom. And I feel like that definitely happened with you, especially for the school lunches.
Yeah.
The school lunches you might want to go into.
If you notice that the kid is feeling remorse, you just let them know they don't have to feel that way. Mom can cook it or prepare lunches how she wants, and he can enjoy it or not, and you can make lunches. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can really do other than tell him it's okay to like one thing more than the other.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Well, it seemed to work because when you comforted him, he broke down a few times because he wasn't used to that. And so I think you're right. I mean, that's all you can do.
That is true. I can tell that story.
I mean, you've told it before, but you can tell it again.
Yeah, I picked him up from school and brought him home and set him at the island in our house and started making him, I think it was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I turned around to make it, turned back around to give it to him, and he was literally in tears, quietly. I'm like, baby, what's wrong? Mm-hmm. He's like, what was his words?
Something like he just isn't used to that.
Yeah, I just feel so happy. Oh yeah, no, he said these are happy tears, Brittany. I just love the sandwiches.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, I got to tell you what she's packing. I mean,
Yeah, go ahead and tell them.
yeah, there were weird things because she was on a weird diet. She was a weird girl, but she had a weird diet.
Mm-hmm.
She was packing like seaweed pieces, which I've seen at Whole Foods, which are probably okay for adults that have dietary concerns. Not a kid.
He was
Not a
like,
kid.
was he like
He was
six-ish, maybe five?
Yeah. And she would
No, six.
she would cook a soup.
Mm-hmm.
Or she wouldn't even cook it. She would just put it in Tupperware, and I mean a soup, liquid soup. So it wasn't warm.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was homemade, very bland, because that was her diet. So I mean, the kid's gonna have a hard time with that. So when you bring him home and give him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or whatever after school, of course he's gonna like that more. But just comfort him or her and let her know it's okay. You know, that's really all you can do. Just continue to love them unconditionally, and you can't really control what the other parent does, which is unfortunate when they're bad, but you can always control what happens in your house.
So I'm going to wrap this up and then mention a conclusion. So she's done with questions. She concludes that she's a stepmom to a beautiful 7-year-old, and hearing your perspective on what she went through in a video. Oh, so she did see the other video, and I wish I could remember the name of it. I think it has the word Brittany in the title, so you guys should be able to find it. Hearing more about what you endured and any tips that you may have are extremely helpful, which is what you just gave her. Very limited material on the matter, and some of the ones out there don't dive into high conflict child custody, which is very true. Vague tips that don't address the fact that boundaries have to be set because you can't have a normal co-parenting relationship with a parent like that, which is true. And I guess the best part of what you said was that you really have to defer to the biological, in this case, father, because that's the person with the right to litigate. Mm-hmm. And that's what we ended up having to do. And let's not pretend that that was the easiest thing in the world for Brittany. She was really pissed off sometimes. But I couldn't file things unless the court would agree with me. It didn't matter what she thought. It didn't matter what I thought. And she had an attorney who was constantly asking for attorney fees. So I was always cognizant of the fact that if we make a mistake, we lose a vacation. And that's just going to put more strain on the relationship. So there was a point at the very end when I was thinking about not filing the motion to modify custody that Brittany insisted I file. And she ended up being right because that's the one that we won. And if you guys want to learn more all about this, you have to go find the My Docket series where she testifies on the stand. And you should also find the second video where she answers questions from me. And of course, feel free to send more questions for Brittany via email at admin@theproperperson.com.